Hello everyone, welcome to Cadwell Park for the second running of the Webster Mbe Lincoln Red Beef Cadwell Sidecar Revival. Phew, that's a mouthful, but it is a big event. It's round 3 of the Molson Group British Sidecar Championship, first and foremost, but we're also celebrating 70 years of World Championship Sidecar Racing. 1949 it started, you think of that. Brilliant stuff. We're also celebrating 40 years of the LCR chassis, and you'll see lots of those on track today. But 3 championship races coming up, a whole host of nostalgia, a big crowd coming in. I can't wait. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. You just watch. "70 years ago, 1949, the World Championship for Sidecars was instituted, the FIM Championship. I'm here with the man who's undeniably made the biggest impact on that championship. With 10 titles to his name, Steve Webster Mbe. What a series to be involved in, and what a journey you've had.
Yeah, it's been, I've loved it. It was something I started off doing as a hobby. I was lucky to get into it fairly young, and it became a way of life, and it became a job for me. So, it was a job. It was just such a fantastic job to do.
Well, we got in this marquee, Steve, a complete array of bikes going back. Let's have a stroll through and see what we have got. I mean, you've come through the 2-stroke era into 4 strokes, and back in the early days, over there, we've even got a Morgan. I mean, what's some changes we've seen?
Like now, you see all the different types of machines we've got, from the tubular ones, and then going on to the monocoque type chassis. And I suppose now what we've got is you've got a situation where you've got all these bikes in one place, where people can see the evolution of what's happened and how the sidecars have progressed.
Well, there have been some real changes, and we're going to be talking to a man very shortly who was one of the greatest innovators and engineers. But before we get to Rolf Beeler, tell us about that machine that he built, which was effectively a 3-wheeled car.
Yeah, the BO bike, it changed the complete design of sidecars. It had 2 wheels at the back, 2 driven wheels, and 1 wheel at the front, and basically the passenger was sat in it. And it was a 3-wheel racing car, and obviously it was streaks ahead of the other lads with the outfits, and became they had to ban it in the end because it was just such a tremendous bit of kit.
But it won the World Championship.
It did, yeah, and it was all credit to Rolf for doing it, and Louis.
Brilliant. Well, let's go across and meet Rolf Beeler, and he's here with the bike that he won. Rolf, correct me if I'm wrong, your last World Championship was won on this bike, is that correct?
It's correct, yes. That's why it cost a lot of money.
And it's still earning you money today?
No. I do it for pleasure. Yeah, I do events to meet some friends like Steve. Everybody is here, Abbott and Darren Dix and all. That's all, the only possibility to see those guys again.
Rolf Beeler, it's a pleasure to have you here. Your second visit to the Cadwell Revival, and you're going to be on track on this very shortly, along with Steve Webster.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I like to keep some fighting together, yeah.
Have fun, and we'll talk to you later. Finally, Steve, you're going to be back on track, as I said, on your bike with Paul Woodhead in the sidecar. You're looking forward to this event. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic time. It brings back some memories chasing Rolf and Kurt about again. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
And then chase them in the bar.
That's the one.
70 years of World Championship Sidecar Racing. We've been talking to some of the greats going back over several decades, right up to the modern day. Ben and Tom Birchall, 3 times contemporary world champions, 10 times Isle of Man TT winners. Back in the day, of course, Ben, the TT was part of the World Championship.
Yeah, it wasn't a race that you could choose to go to. It was one that you had to go to. I mean, imagine that. And I don't think it was the only road race on the calendar at that time. So, yeah, our times have changed.
You've been involved in the sport now for a few years, which has got this wonderful history. Some great names have gone before, Tom. It must have been really difficult riding these fierce 2-stroke things as a passenger. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I really wish to have been born in a few years earlier, because the Grand Prix bikes of the day were just incredible machines. I mean, we've got Rolf Beeler's bike here, perfect example of one. And they were just designed exactly for Grand Prix, and I'm sure one day we'll be able to get in one. But the bikes that we ride in the Grand Prix now, you know, they've sort of gone towards what they were, you know, with a smaller engine capacity and lighter, and the engine being in a better place. So we're somewhere near now. You know, you can get the feeling of how they were, but you know what great times they were and what great history that there is.
We're also celebrating 40 years of LCR, and you've got the, if I can put it this way, honour and privilege to be the LCR men now. I mean, you have taken over that mantle from Lewis Christen. You're the LCR go-to man.
Yeah, and you know, it is that, Barry, an honour and a privilege to sort of be in that position. We're doing our best to, you know, emulate what he did, and certainly do it in the way that he's done it. That's been the biggest effort that we've put in, is to bring it from Switzerland to this country, but keep it as, you know, that Swiss quality and that precision and the amazing attention to detail that he's formed over the years, and that's the biggest aim. And the biggest thing that he's impressed upon us is the safety. We build these bikes and we jump on them and we ride them, but they need to be safe. And without any of us realising, Louis has been juggling lots of plates for a lot of years to keep the sport at a good level, safe level, but also an affordable one too.
Tom, a week ago at Brands, a crash damaged your long bike. You're here with a TT bike, which I understand you're going to parade and not race. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just a bit more of a relaxed weekend for us, you know. So we'll be alongside the greats like Beeler and Abbott and Webster. You know, it's a real honour for us, and to be in such great company.
Well, thank you both for coming. It's a great lineup. You were here last year, and now look at this, just getting bigger and bigger, this event.
It is, and it's great to be a part of it, and long may it continue.
I've got a very special father and son crew alongside me, Darren Dixon, Jake Dixon. Darren Dixon, double world sidecar champion, as well as being an absolute star on a solo. Jake Dixon, of course, red hot from the BSB paddock, and now very much involved in Moto 2. First of all, Darren, back here for the revival. When was the last time you were on a sidecar outfit?
Well, last time around here on a sidecar outfit would have been probably 1994. Quite I think then.
That's a long time.
That is, yeah, it was British Championship, yeah, that was a long time ago.
We saw you at Brands. We managed to twist your arm and get you up here to the Cadwell Revival. Now you're here. I'm glad you came.
Listen, it's a fantastic event. I was quite shocked when I drove down through the paddock. Couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. It was just like going back to the 1980s.
Jake, you were never going to be anything else but a racer, were you, in fairness?
Well, I don't know. I wanted to be a jockey, but he wouldn't let me. It was obviously going to be difficult to grow up to be anything else other than a motorcycle racer, to be fair, because what Dad's done for his career, and here we are now, obviously in Moto 2. Last year, runner-up in BSB. Not obviously, Dad won't let me live it down. He won it, I didn't. So it's not so great, but hopefully I can put one up on him and get a MotoGP world title one day. But obviously 2 times world champ, so I've got some stuff to live up to, but you'll never see me in a sidecar.
What I'm going to ride is a TZ750 Windle outfit, which I actually started my racing career on back in 1981. But I can't really remember back that far, so I've no clue what it's going to be like. Listen, it's been great they've actually invited me, and the opportunity to ride stuff that I've ridden over my career, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, thank you both. You're up there in history, both of you, so thanks for coming and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks ever so much.
No worries, he looks good in my leathers, by the way.
Coming here to Cadwell after just 3 races is far. That's the defending champions on top of the pile. Ellis and Richardson, the Christie brothers, Andy Peach going well, Rob Biggs, Ben Holland, Lee Watson. The first race of 3 here at Cadwell started with Kershaw and Clark on pole position with Ellis and Richardson alongside them. Then it was Blackstock 95 and John Holden number 3 on the 2 Sidecar Racing bikes behind. So those 4 through qualifying had proved to be the quickest, obviously. Ben Holland had done quite well and he got quite a good start as well, but it was an absolute flyer for Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark leading Ellis and Richardson until they got out of shape. Once they got out of shape in a big way, Ellis was alongside on Park Straight and into the right-hander took the lead. So Ellis was out in front, Kershaw chasing, then it was Blackstock, then number 3 Holden, and very shortly afterwards Kershaw got in all sorts of trouble in the woods and it was game over for them in dramatic style, which left Ellis and Richardson clear in the lead. Absolutely no trouble from the Barnes Racing Silicon Engineering bikes, with Holden moving into second place. A terrific battle was going on behind, headed by Rob Biggs. Chris Walker was in the mix. Andy Peach was at the back of it. It was a 5-way scrap. Ben Holland and Lee Watson's fairing came adrift, so they were forced to retire the other JG Speedfit Kawasaki out of the action. Ellis took victory from Holden. Blackstock completed the podium. This gave Ellis and Richardson the championship lead. There you can see nearly 5 seconds from John Holden and Lee Cain. Blackstock and Rossi, that's the podium. Gary Bryan, Phil Hyde strong ahead of Rob Biggs, Jerome Schmitz. Walker and Christie finished 6th. They had been running stronger, but they dropped back a bit to 6th place and 10 points. Cable, Lowther, Horsepole and Nichols. Final point to Phil Bell and Ryan Anderson. Race 2 lining up here with Todd Ellis on pole position. They form up in the order they were at the flag in yesterday's race. Kershaw, therefore, Kershaw and Clark right back because they had a breakdown, went into the wall actually up in the woods. So they're right down the order. But the Barnes Racing Silicon Engineering bikes of Blackstock and Rosny, number 95, and Holden and Lee Cain, both those guys on the podium. Great for Barnes Racing, great for Silicon Engineering, and good for John Holden. He needed the points. This is going to be another cracking race, but the big question on everyone's lips, can Kershaw come from the back on this notoriously difficult circuit to get to the sharp end? There's only one way to find out. And ordinarily, of course, we'd have had a reverse grid situation, but deemed too dangerous for that, Cadwell Park. Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz, the Taurus Tools Honda crew, have been going really well. There's a big gap there on the left. Chris Walker and Tom Christie, his passenger, had something of a disagreement, so their weekend was over. Lights out, Ellis is away. Look at Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde siding through into second place. Gary Bryan and Phil going well. John Holden, Blackstock going past John Holden as well. Lewis Blackstock charging through the number 95. They are in third. We're riding then, looking back from Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde at Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosny. John Holden is behind them, pulling out of the slipstream on the inside into the right-hander. Oh yes, it's Barnes Racing Silicon Engineering bikes in second and third. Holden flying through as well. The yellow of Martin Kirk and Shelley Smith is there. Kershaw making his way through the traffic at the back here. An awful lot to do. This is going to be really difficult to find his way through here. Kevin Cable and Kyle Masters then on the hit list, but siding back in front of Kershaw. A shake of the head from Steve Kershaw. That was Scottish. Oh, I thought I'd had it, but he hadn't. He's through. Now, Todd Ellis at the lead then, up over the mountain, heading down into Albens. This is the scene of Kershaw's coming unstuck in the opening race. Brian Gray and Jason Pitt, the number 7 red Brian Gray power biking bike. Andy Peach and Ken Edwards on the life safety system bike on board with them right now, shadowing Brian Gray, and these two will have raced together many, many times. The yellow bike of Martin Kirk and Shelley Smith is returning to Cadwell Park, the scene of the massive crash they had here just 1 year ago. Undaunted, Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz ahead of them. There's Kershaw. There's Kershaw now ahead of the traffic. He's gone past Gary Horsepole, gone past Phil Bell, gone past Kevin Cable, gone past a whole host of outfits in his quest to get into the points. As I said earlier, that was not going to be an easy task because not the widest circuit in the world, Cadwell Park. But there's another one, Andy Peach and Ken Edwards next on the hit list. Brian Gray and Jason Pitt, are they going to be able to get past Brian Gray? He's very seasoned. He won't let anyone go past easily, I can tell you that. Having ridden Grand Prix over the years, rides classic bikes, he's here this weekend with an historic piece of machinery. A great battle going on here between Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell and Kevin Cable and Kyle Masters. Kevin Cable, the 111, has gone really, really well. Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosney have brought a whole year of World Championship experience into this paddock for 2019, and they are committed to doing the entire Molson Group Championship. That is good news, as indeed is the number 3 John Holden and Lee Cain. Again, another refugee, if you like, from the world of World Championship sidecar racing. Todd Ellis, reigning 600cc Cup champion, of course, of which there is no more championship. Everybody on 600cc bikes, and at this point I will point out the fact that the lap record 131, I beg your pardon, 0.9, held by Tim Reeves, is on a big bike. These guys are lapping in the low 133, so they're about a second and a half off the pace. Kershaw then, now past Brian Gray. How far can he get? That's the point. Out in front though, Todd Ellis making hay while the sun shines here at Cadwell Park. Blackstock on the SBR bike, the number 95, Blackstock and Rosney leading John Holden and Lee Cain. Lovely to see 2 bikes turned out in the same colours, just as we have with the JG Speedfit Quattro plant. 4th place for Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde. Phil Hyde, this is another crew who've moved from 1000cc power to 600. Brian, of course, no stranger because he was in the TT as well this year, and he's raced Formula 2 and 600 bikes over the years, so it's just a question of getting used to a 600 engine in a long chassis. Long chassis corner so much better, of course, than the short ones. And talking of short ones, Alan Founds, number 44, and Jake Lowther on the Cloud Vapors short chassis with a Yamaha in, leading Martin Kirk and Steve Kershaw right behind them. Kershaw on the back of Martin Kirk and Shelley Smithies, and he's going to have to wait to get onto the straight coming out of Barn. No, moving across, Martin Kirk, Shelley Smithies, a lady passenger who had a pelvis break here a year ago. What a brave girl. And she's back, seemingly undaunted. Kershaw then in between them, but he's got that little Yamaha ahead of him, same power, and they're allowed open tune as well on those short chassis bikes, whereas the long bikes, and Kershaw past he goes, past Alan Founds 44. The long bikes restricted to 600 Super Sport level of tune, whereas the short bikes, the TT, F2 bikes, call them what you like, can have open tune, so technically the engine will be a lot quicker. But Alan Founds fighting back, Kershaw's retiring, Kershaw and Stuart Clark, that is another catastrophe, 2 in a row for them. They're limping round, are they going to bring it home and get some points? Kershaw thinks not. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. A look over the shoulder, he's coasting off the racing line and he's out of the action. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson then with a significant lead, 4 or 5 seconds at this point. Lewis Blackstock chased by John Holden and Lee Cain. So Blackstock and Rosney looking very accomplished here, leading their senior teammate, if I can put it that way. Still 4th for the number 2 outfit, Gary Bryan. 5th, it's Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz. And then comes that battle with Pete Founds chasing hard with Martin Kirk and Shelley Smithies. Andy Peach and Ken Edwards getting a bird's eye view of everything that's going on in front. We're on board with Martin Kirk right now. Is he going to be able to get the better of that Cloud Vapors bike, the LCR Yamaha? On the straight then, there'll be nothing for it here. In fact, I expect a short bike to go away from Martin Kirk. Well, it's not actually. Kirk is looking at the inside, going up to the right-hander at Park, and he's on the inside, and he makes it stick. Underneath then, Martin Kirk and Shelley Smithies go past Alan Founds and Jake Lowther. Andy Peach will have seen that move, and that presents him with a potential to have a go next time round. Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz off on the grass. What happened there? They went wide but recovered remarkably quickly with the Taurus Tools Honda, the CBR 600 Honda. Blackstock still holding that advantage from John Holden and Lee Cain. Blackstock and Rosney, it's as close now as it's been. Now the battle with Kirk closing down. So Kirk and Smith is on a charge here. Martin Kirk, such a lovely family crew they are. They work on a shoestring to come racing, now living down in the West Country. So they've got an awful lot of travelling to come to most of the circuits. Thruxton will be their nearest. Blackstock and Rosny still, with John Holden and Lee Cain absolutely climbing all over them, getting a sniff of the aftershave. I wouldn't be surprised. Park straight up towards Park Corner, and then the right-hander of Chris Curve. Any sign of John Holden? I expect him to pop through, and lo and behold, there he did. John Holden and Lee Cain, number 3, on the inside of their teammates then, moving into second place. And this fantastic scrap going on behind. Martin Kirk, Shelley Smithies, looking now right on the back of Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz, going through, taking that place again. Rob Biggs won't give in so easily. He's got the corner speed. This is the battle for 5th place. So into 5th go Martin Kirk and Shelley Smithies. 5 on the bike for Rob Biggs. It's not 5 in the race. Kevin Cable going, but it's action all the way down the field, isn't it? Going past Gary Horsball and Jimmy Connell. Kevin Cable and Kyle Masters, who have had a super consistent season so far in 2019, but this is only, would you believe, round 3, the 5th race so far, actual race in the championship. 1 at Alton, 2 at Brands, 3 here at Cadwell, and Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, double champions, have yet to score a point for all sorts of reasons. This will be good news for John Holden then, runner-up in the first race. Is he going to be runner-up again here? Biggs and Jerome Schmitz still trailing through the twisty section in the woods here. Martin Kirk, Shelley Smith is having a look on the inside at Barn, up the inside at Barn, getting it round, and have they got the place? Yes, they have. Nowhere for Martin Kirk to go. Amazing stuff. Just underlines as we approach the last lap, we're on the last lap now, it underlines just what a wise decision it was to move all of these outfits to 600cc as I have a swig of water. This has been an exhausting race for me. What would it be like for them when you're on board around this 2.18 mile Cadwell Park at racing speeds like this? Kirk then coming back again, he wants that 5th place. He wants it really badly. He's underneath, he's gone wide. Oh, bit of a touch there. That was Shelley getting a kiss on the elbow. And Biggs and Schmitz are through to claim that 5th place. No quarter asked, and certainly none given. Race leaders Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson on the Santander Salt Honda. They prefer CBR 600 power. Round the old hairpin, down towards Barn, the sprint down towards the checkered flag, and it will be victory number 2 here at Cadwell Park for Ellis and Richardson, enhancing the championship lead, much to the chagrin and the sorrow of Kershaw and Clark, who have had a double DNF. Ellis and Richardson, good day in the office. 2 down, 1 to go. There it is then, 4.2 after all that, so it wasn't a big gap, was it? From Holden and Cain, Blackstock and Rosny, a repeat of race 1 podium. Bryan and Hyde well fought Rob Biggs, Jerome Schmitz, ahead of Martin Kirk. Founds, Peach in there as well. The points go all the way to 15th, and Phil Bell and Ryan Anderson collect that final point. Brilliant stuff. Lewis Blackstock, Paddy Rosny, your season's got kick-started now, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we had to miss around due to a little baby arriving, but yeah, we're back now and it's going good. 3 thirds, it's a good start. John
Holden's teammates, you know, you're both going well, both crews.
Yeah, it's been good. It's all right chasing him around, but trying to get ahead of him next time.
And I'm really happy to see John Holden and Lee Cain again on the podium. The season so far has not been good, but it's up and running now, mate.
Yeah, we've actually started racing now, and yeah, it feels good, bike's good, team's good, everything's perfect.
Lee, a good season. What's he like to ride with this fella?
He's a pleasure. No, he's doesn't miss a beat on the bike. His preparation off the bike's fantastic. He's got the best team around him. Can't ask for more, really.
Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, another brilliant victory. Now I know this lad's been struggling with severe flu for a week. Are you not yet over it yet, are you?
No, as you can hear, I've still got sore throat. I was struggling with it at Brands and I just can't seem to shift it at the minute. So hopefully it might go a bit better if I get rid of the flu.
Rest your voice. Despite that, he goes well. I mean, what a fantastic day you're having, 2 wins.
It's going well for us this weekend. It's his local track and it's where he sort of started riding. So we do have a bit of an advantage over most people here, but even then it's, you know, we're just following the pit board at the moment until Kershaw catches up in the race. It seems to be sort of just manage it really.
On the grid here for the third and final race from the Cadwell Sidecar Revival. What a weekend it's been. What a weekend for Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. 2 victories already. And equally, what a dreadful weekend for Kershaw and Clark. The series leaders coming here. They are now second in the championship and they start again from way back down the order. I'll tell you who has gone well. Rob Biggs, number 5, Lewis Blackstock, and here once again the pole position crew, Ellis and Richardson on the Santander Salt Honda. Who would bet against a hat-trick for them? We'll see. What a weekend these boys have had then. Championship leaders now, reigning 600 Cups. What a weekend those boys have had. Kershaw and Clark once more at the back of the grid after 1 crash and a mechanical retirement. Lewis Blackstock very focused, he and Paddy Rosney. Can they turn the tables on their teammates John Holden and Lee Cain? It's all ifs, buts and maybes. Just watch for the lights then. Lights will come on and go. Off and away they go, and it's another flyer. Gary Bryan getting another flyer on the inside. He's good off the line, isn't he, Gary Bryan? Putting his nose in front as well. And out in front then, it's Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rossi. Martin Kirk and Shelley Smithies on the grass, taking with them Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. Peachy looks over his right shoulder. All's well on the grass and he's back on track. Did Kirk and Smithers get away with it? The answer is no. Game over for them. Terminal damage to the outfit. At the front though, it's Holden. Holden leading. Blackstock finds himself in 5th place out of Brian Gray. Kevin Cable got an absolute flyer. He and Kyle Masters very quick off the line. They've taken to that 600 like a duck to water. Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson chasing John Holden and Lee Cain then, race leaders. We said in the interview that his season's got going. He started racing, he started leading. John Holden and Lee Cain then. As I said earlier, not refugees, but they've decided to contest this championship rather than the World Championship. And I have to say the strength in depth here in the Molson Group British Sidecar Championship far, far superior to the World Championship. This is the best sidecar racing championship on the planet, bar none. And I defy anyone to challenge that. The F2s, the FSRA, are here this weekend as well on the programme, and in fairness to them, they have put in some very, very strong races. But the strength in depth all the way down this field in the Molson Group Championship is immense. Kershaw and Clark moving out to pass Wayne Lockyer and Mark Sayers on the short chassis LCR Honda, sweeping by in imperious style, claiming the place. Blackstock and Rosney underneath Gary Bryan, up to 3rd place. So it's a repeat of the earlier podium, except that John Holden is now leading from the lights, grabbed the advantage, never looked back so far. He's leading Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, and the lap times absolutely identical between these 600 outfits. That's what's so good about this level playing field we now have, with the equilibrium, if you like, in engine capacity, and everybody on long chassis, either LCR or Adolf Rudy Schmidt chassis. There are 1 or 2 of those around these days. Simon Gilbert is one of the protagonists who rides an RS chassis. Ellis then looking right and left, but having to settle and go for second best to John Holden. Kevin Cable will be the next. So Gary Horsfall, Kevin Cable ahead of Kershaw and Clark, and they're not going to be easy to pass either. This is the scene of Kershaw's undoing in race 1. Race leaders over the line. John Holden, Todd Ellis in second. He and Chaz Richardson on the Santander Salt CBR 600. Brian Gray, number 7, going through. Now the chasing bunch. Kershaw and Clark moving out past number 32, Gary Horsfall and Jimmy Connell. Not finding it a complete walk in the park. They slot in between Horsfall and Kevin Cable. Todd Ellis, we're back at the front looking at the race leaders. John Holden and Lee Cain on the Barnes Racing, Silicon Engineering. Silicon Engineering, of course, sponsored of Dean Harrison on a solo bike, as well as this duo of sidecar outfits. Not this duo, the man in third as well on one, and through goes Ellis. Ellis then goes in hot too, but managed to get it stopped at the foot of the gooseneck down into the chicane here, and then throwing it left into the foot of the mountain. So John Holden now in second place. This is deja vu for these three crews. Exactly how they finished in the 2 previous encounters, but this has been a much tougher fight for Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. Ben Holland and Lee Watson have overcome their woes with the loose fairing, and they're running hard and running strong as well, but they had to come from the back, just as Kershaw and Clark have done, to fight their way through, and they are some 5 or 6 outfits behind the reigning champions, making their way through the traffic. Are they going to fare any better getting past Gary Horsfall and Jimmy Connell? Look at the antics of the passenger, keeping the drive on the rear wheel, keeping it stable. Jimmy Connell, the next round will be up on home ground for him, north of the border. Ben Holland and Lee Watson, so good to see them back as full-time regulars in the championship. Blackstock and Rosny, number 95 in third place. Now Ben Holland, I think, will make a lunge for the inside underneath Kevin Cable, who's surrendered to Horsfall, and he's passed the pair of them. Gary Horsfall was not as quick as Kevin Cable into Park Corner, and the profit there was Ben Holland's. Andy Peach going underneath as well. He and Ken Edwards with the number 14 outfit ahead of them. In fact, going past the number 14 outfit of Lockie and Sayers. Still at the front, Blackstock has not given up. In fact, he's closing down now as Kershaw's on the back of Brian Gray and Jason Pitt. Is he going to be able to nail them before they get into the trees? Highly unlikely. And having had that incident in the woods in race 1, he will exercise caution, discretion being the better part of valour in this instance. Out of the old hairpin down towards Barn, and now this is where Kershaw's Yamaha will come into its own. Past he goes. Brian Gray and Jason Pitt then relegated by the Molson Group Express Tyres. LCR Yamaha, supported of course by Santander Salt, teammate in fact to Todd Ellis, race leader, and now 44 peak pounds with Rob Biggs behind. That's a renewal of their battle, and look who's coming, Kershaw and Clark and Gray and Pitt. It's about to be a 4-way scrap. What a weekend we've had so far at Cadwell Park, and this race, the final race in the Molson Group Sidecar Championship here, no exception. Alan Founds and Jake Lowther fending off Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz, and that's where the short bike works. Through the woods there, whether it can hold its own on the straight will remain to be seen, because the CBR 600 Honda of Rob Biggs is very quick, but breathing down their neck now, Kershaw and Clark making progress from the back of the grid to try and salvage something from what has been a totally miserable Cadwell Sidecar revival for them. Round 3 in the Molson Group British Sidecar Championship. 3 races on the programme and they've scored nothing so far. They've lost the championship lead, and out in front it's Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. This the battle for second place, with John Holden in second. Lewis Blackstock 95 we're on board with now. He and Paddy Rosney have had a fantastic weekend so far. Can they go one more step up the box and claim second on the podium? Well, to do that they have to vanquish the veteran, the Isle of Man TT veteran, the World Championship veteran, has been racing sidecars for so long, John Holden. He knows every hint and wrinkle in the book. But the youngsters behind him are learning. They're watching the lines. They're looking for the opportunity to dive underneath. And I think they might just have a go at the end of Park Straight if they can get enough momentum. Now then, on the start-finish straight here at Cadwell, slinging up to Coppice, that sweeping left-hander, then into Charlie's at the top, which will be the right-hander. Kershaw getting a 5th place pitboard sign, so up to 5th then for Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark. He should get a result. Alan Founds and Jake Lowther holding off the attentions of Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz, who've had another flawless ride. Ben Holland, Lee Watson, damage limitation for them. Can they get past Brian Gray and Jason Pitt on the Brian Gray Power Biking R6 Yamaha? Also running a young man in the MRO Championship who will be joining us at some time in the season, that's for sure. Remember the name Tommy Philp, and meanwhile remember the name Ben Holland, because Ben Holland moving now up to 8th place, having gone past Brian Gray, so salvaging something from his weekend as well, Ben Holland, with 2 retirements so far. Still though, John Holden, number 3, holding that second place, or should I say Holden that second place, ahead of Lewis Blackstock and Paddy Rosney. And if they can hang on to this to the flag, it is 3 consecutive second spots on the podium for them, because out in front it's Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson on the Santander Salt Honda. Holden's Kawasaki good. In 4th place, Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, with Kershaw in 5th, very attentive. Look at the damage on the nose cone of that outfit where they kissed the Armco when they went into the wall in the trees, and up to 4th he goes. 4th place now for Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark, so all is not lost. Alan Founds and Jake Lowther still in this battle for 6th place. The 6th place fight then with Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz. They want it. This guy has got what he wants. This will be a hat-trick of wins for Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson if they bring it home, and I will not put the commentator's curse on them, but they certainly look very accomplished. You heard in the interview Chaz saying that this is Todd's home track. It's where he started his racing, and he's doing a great job, I can tell you. The battle for second though, still John Holden and Lee Cain. Lee Cain acutely aware and will have in his peripheral vision the side under switch here. Biggs has gone past. Biggs has gone past Alan Founds. That now is Biggs up to 6th. 6th place for Rob Biggs and Jerome Schmitz. What a weekend they've had. And look at this, side by side, but Holden just about holding the advantage there. That was close stuff. Blackstock is desperate then to go one step better on the podium. He's going to throw everything at this final opportunity, I suspect. We're into the closing stages of the race. On the final lap, 2.18 miles of the Cadwell Park International Circuit, because this is an international track going back over decades. The best motorcyclists, solo or sidecar, have raced here over the years. The number 89 crew of Craig Hawkswell and Derek Taylor being laps. Gary Bryan goes through, and now you are watching the race leaders, Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson. 2nd and 3rd, Holden and Blackstock, on board with Blackstock. wondering what might have been if they can only find out. Oh, there's an opportunity. That was a bit of a, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. They kissed the curb and it threw them sideways onto the grass there. Lewis Blackstock would have seen that. John Holden then unaccustomedly ragged on this final lap. Not one to give to pressure, but he's riding a very defensive line here, and he's got to, because Lewis Blackstock 95 is climbing all over the back of his teammate's outfit in an effort to claim that place. He wants it. He desperately, desperately wants it. Down towards Barn for the final time. Lewis Blackstock in third, ahead of him. Holden over the line. Richardson and Todd Ellis's driver. They have done the hat-trick here at Cadwell. Holden hangs on to second, Blackstock third. What a day for them. They will march on at the top of the standings. Kershaw indeed managed to bring it home fourth, so not a total loss for him. Brian, consistent again, he's there. Biggs N6, you saw that battle with Alan Founds. Ben Holland, some points at least. And Brian Gray, much better for Phil Bell this time. 6 points from 10th place ahead of Kevin Cable, Gary Horsfall, Deacon Nichols, Kenny Cole, Lockie and Hawkes. What a race! Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark, always nice to interview you, but it might have been under happier circumstances. Not the best weekend for you.
No, we had a crash in the first race. It was a very small mistake, but it was at high cost. Race 2, a brake issue then that stemmed from the crash, and then race 3, we were coming through from the back into fourth. It's as high as we could get. So damage limitation, it happens. It might happen to other people. So we'll just keep plugging away, and we'll be there at the end, I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to attempt to chat to poor Todd Ellis, who's really struggling with the throat. Not only has he had a hat-trick here at Cadwell, add to that the win at Brand, so it's 4 on the trot. That's pretty impressive, Todd. Well done.
Yeah, this illness seems to have worked wonders for me, really. I think it must be slowing my reaction times down or something, but yeah, hopefully I've got a lot to prove when I get a bit better, haven't I?
It's the medication that's doing it for you.
Yeah, it's all the cough medicine.
Brilliant. So no drugs test, don't worry about it. Chaz, you must be absolutely thrilled. Like I say, 4 wins on the bounce. I mean, that's some record.
It's nice to prove that, now we're on equal machinery, that we are up there with the best. Just looking forward to Knock Hill now, because we've got good times around there compared to Stephen on his 600, so hopefully we can make it 7 on the trot.
Well, they came here trailing. They go away with a handsome lead over Kershaw and Clark, the reigning champions. Blackstock and Rosny move into third. 1 point clear of Gary Brown. Look how close it is, those top 6. Holden and Cain in 6th there. What a fantastic championship. Well, what a fantastic Cadwell Sidecar revival we've had. And round 3 of the Molson Group Sidecars provided great racing. The championship in a very different state from when we arrived, and will continue to evolve right through the 2019 season. So we'll be covering it. Stick with us. I'm surrounded by period machinery at this wonderful event. More are going on track. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you again.